The college football season is coming back, and we got you covered on every game. We're breaking it down on each snap all season long. Catch us every week starting on August 4th. Joe Aguirre, Sean Scanlon, Jace Garcia, and yours truly, Obi Muniz, giving you the highlights, predictions, and current rankings. Visit our website at hhwshow.com and subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's all 4 downs, part of the CMG Sports Podcast Network.
Clovercrest Media Group presents a CMG podcast. Keys to the City.
Keys to the city, baby. When you see us, so you know.
Crossed up by Kobe, little floated to Shaq, and then Shaq goes like this, and the rest is history. Pay attention. Don't tell me what to do, devil woman. But speaking of those Lakers, hold on. But I didn't make my. I said Denver's gonna win. Yeah, you did. You said that. There's no other show like that.
Clovercrest is doing great things right now.
Streaming everywhere. Throwing jabs, always full send. Here we go again. Jared, Joe, and Jay's Clovercrest, top 3 corner man, punching in with a puncher's chance. We find a way to win. The main event, locked it in every Saturday at 10. The overhand is out of hand when it comes to fisticuffs. Slide a hand on the undercard, you'll never see the punch. Uppercut, got you missing weight, feet are stepping late. Keep your guard up, feeling faint from a feint. Take a stand and eight, then retaliate. Put up your duke, stick and move, bob and weave. Don't lose hope against the ropes, there's always an escape. Never stay down. One more round, bells ringing. Counter punch with your chin tucked and go down swinging. We bringing crosses with no worship, hooks with no verses, combinations with no locks. When you feel the flurry, it's curtains. From scrub scraps to fight stats, relax if you want the facts, cause the best combat podcast is throwing jabs.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Throwing Jabs. I'm your host, Big J, joined by Jared Jones and Joe Aguirre. And boy, we got another big weekend of fights. But before we get there, we got to recap last week's UFC pay-per-view, UFC 267. Let's start with the co-main event. As we all picked Peter Yan to get it done against Corey Sandhagen. Got it done via unanimous decision. I mean, next is the rematch for the actual bantamweight championship. But, Joe, what'd you think of the fight here?
Look, here's the thing. Peter Yan is next level when it comes to being a bantamweight. And Corey Sandhagen is a great, great fighter. And he fought a great fight. He gave it his all. He put everything he had into this fight. He's got to be happy with his performance. But as you can see, it fell woefully short. I think everyone in this division should be on notice that you got to bring your A game to beat Peter Yan. And I don't think most guys' A games like Sandhagen's are capable of actually beating Peter Yan. And he's going to go get his belt back from Sterling, and I'll be curious to see who might be able to step up. This guy's just next level. This guy just enforces his will, and I don't know. I mean, again, Sandhagen's great. Hit him flush with some kicks. Just nothing doing, Jared. I mean, I say it. There's elite guys. This is one of those guys who's just head and shoulders better than the other guys.
Buzzsaw, Peter Yan, when we talked about Fighter of the Year, he was one of my candidates. And if you take that one knee out, these are dominant performances against top-of-the-line guys. I love your take here, Joe. It was the best fight Sandhagen could have fought, and he's one of the elite fighters in the division, and it wasn't good enough for Peter Yan. This kid is a buzzsaw. I don't see him losing anytime soon, not at that weight class. I mean, Cyril Gane could beat him, but this guy's good.
Yeah, like I said last week, Yan is fighting to get at the top of that pound-for-pound rankings. Corey Sandhagen, he's just at the top of the bantamweight division. I mean, it's just different. And, yeah, that one knee keeps it from being a bantamweight title defense then he has to go back and get the championship again, which sucks. But yeah, Jan is just a beast. But going from Peter Yan to Jan Blachowicz, who lost as Glover Teixeira submitted him, and last week y'all were laughing at my face
That's
about
not
picking
true.
Glover.
I want to be very clear.
Finish it.
I want to be very
him.
clear.
Okay.
I expressed concern about the submission game of Teixeira. I acknowledged it. I said I thought it would be a problem, could become a big factor, but I thought the Polish power would come out early and negate that, and it didn't. To me, Jan never looked right in this fight. He really never got going and then got submitted. So not trying to make any excuses, but Jan just finished shooting an action movie in his native Poland. I don't know if maybe he was a little distracted with the camp. Maybe he didn't. I don't know what it was.
Wasn't jogging.
Yeah, not enough jogging. Clearly, this didn't look. Listen, Glover Teixeira is an excellent fighter.
Yep.
And when you use Brazilian jiu-jitsu in fights, your chances of winning greatly increases. Someone should tell Paulo Costa that. That said, Jan Blachowicz is a better fighter than Glover Teixeira, and I think at least in the recent couple of years he's been the guy. But this was not a championship performance out of Jan Blachowicz. So credit to Glover, who brought it, who at 42 finally got his crack, and representing Danbury CT. Nothing but love for Glover Teixeira. That's great.
This is how you don't make it. That was a good try, Joe. It was a good attempt, but this is how you don't make any excuses. Jace, I laughed in your face. I said this might be a retirement party for Teixeira. I said he would be dominated. I was wrong on all three counts, except laughing at your face because, you know.
But I mean, if there were ever a person in the UFC to deserve a championship, I think it's Glover. Like just his story, like I mentioned last week, just struggling with his visa during his prime, then having, I mean, John Jones just dominated that division. He had his crack at John Jones, couldn't get it, but now it was his time. And Jan, like he did go on this run, but I mean that's Jan. Like he has these great fights. He can go on these runs, but he does also have those letdowns. And I just think really with Glover Teixeira at the top, even with Jan at the top, this division is still wide open, and we need a young, hungry lion to come kill off these old guys and really take control of this division, in my opinion. To get
Is his name Yuri Prohaska? Because if it is, then I have just the guy for you. His name is Yuri Prohaska. Yeah.
You,
Look, you're right. This division's wide open. It's the reason John Jones bailed out on it. He didn't feel like there was enough star power in it. And you might be right. You know, listen, Dominic Reyes was the hot ticket for a minute. And then it was Jan. And now it's Yuri Prohaska, who everyone's already predicting is going to smash Glover Teixeira. And I will say the same thing I said about this fight. Anytime Glover Teixeira is in a ring with another human being, the chances of him submitting you are really good. So you really gotta come out of the gate, and you gotta be ready. And Prohaska strikes me as a very focused. Obviously, you guys know his story. I mean, he's just a great martial artist. And to me would be a good guy to go in there and negate the submission game with his unbelievable fighting techniques.
Yeah, I mean, we will see. Yeah, regardless, I mean, Glover Teixeira, he had a great moment and everything, but yeah, his time at the top of that division just shouldn't be for too long.
He's the only one that makes sense there. That's it, Prohaska. Yeah. That's the answer to the question all day.
Yeah, I mean, if Johnny Walker won the Santos fight, maybe.
Ankalev, maybe.
That'd be
It's
interesting.
Prohashka is the point.
Yeah.
If you come up with another light heavyweight you think is on that list for the next guy that's the young lion that's going to kill off all those, Prohashka is the list.
You want to know what sucks, though? I bet that if Paulo Costa were to – if they put Paulo Costa in light heavyweight and he knocks out someone, say Jan maybe a little bit older, so he has a big knockout, he can hop Procosta. I think just because the UFC has loved him so much.
Why don't you bring him up and let him fight Prohashka?
But yeah.
That's what you do.
That is what you do, and I think they should do. But
there's a retirement party for you.
Yeah.
yeah, we'll see. We'll see. But now let's get to the who you got. Biggest beefs in combat sports. I mean, we have a big one coming up tonight, part 2, Covington and Usman. They hate each other. They're going back and forth. And, I mean, we've talked about the rivalries. We talked about the trilogies. But the biggest beef, well, not necessarily the greatest performances in the ring, maybe outside the ring actions or just raw hatred of one another. Joe, what's the biggest beef in combat sports?
I'm going to give you 2 guys who never actually got into the octagon together. That being Tony Ferguson and Khabib Nurmagomedov.
I love that.
I've watched that press conference a dozen times. I will smash you in street fight. I will eat you in street fight. Oh, my God. And the Ferguson with the baseball. Is he going to throw it at him? When is he going to throw the ball at Khabib? You know what I mean? That was amazing. The back and forth with those guys, it's too bad the fight never actually happened. But, yeah, that to me, and there's definitely lingering hatred between the two of those. And with every bad fight Ferguson's had since then, Khabib is always there to remind him of it. And I love that. Yeah,
I mean, Khabib was Tony's white whale. Like, as soon as he retired, everything went down the toilet for him. So, yeah. But, Jared, what you got?
A couple honorable mentions first. Gotti Ward, I think you just have to say it. That's more just the fights more than the beef, though. Sugar Ray and Hearns, Hagler Hearns, that whole Duran, that whole 4-pack we had there for a while in the 80s. Rousey and Tate.
John Jones versus alcohol.
And
alcohol has got to be a winner. Thank you, Sander Sanchez. Yes.
John Jones versus addiction. Okay. Circle gets a square. But my winner, I think, like, one of the things that popped into my head is when Batch, how do you pronounce that? She said something about Rousey's father committing suicide and how Rousey would commit suicide after their fight. I think that was basically the downfall of Rousey's career. She went in and smashed Correa. Let's just call her Correa. She went in and smashed Correa with her hands. It was her first non-armbar win. And then she thought she could do that to everybody and ended up in the cage with Holly Holm. So that was one of the things that came to me. Like, when you say something like that and you make somebody feel the type of feelings that Rousey had, I think you need something like that. And if you go back into our war times and you're calling somebody a draft dodger or an Uncle Tom, you're saying something very, very offensive. The answer to this has to be Ali Frazier. You're welcome.
Damn. That's really good. What's got you?
You just got me thinking about Mike Tyson and I will eat your children.
You ever been fucked by a man?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so swell.
Not what you want to hear your opponent say at the press conference.
Yeah.
Mike was great for those sound bites.
Sander brings one up. John Jones, DC. Like what you were saying, Jared, about Correa talking about Ron Rousey's, you said dad, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure John Jones mentioned something about DC's dad dying too as well. So when you bring it to that level, it's wild. But for me, I got two. UFC. One, I mean, in the ring it was terrible, but I mean, the fight itself was terrible, but before the fight and after the fight, it was madness. That's the dolly with Conor McGregor throwing the dolly into the bus, and then obviously Khabib, after destroying him, hops over the gate to yell at Dylan Dennis. So, yeah, that's got to be my UFC one. But for boxing, I gotta go. I've talked about this story so many times on the show. Fury and Wilder. Fury's scrolling through Instagram. Wilder says he's the next generation Tyson Fury. I mean, Mike Tyson. Tyson Fury, who's named after Mike Tyson, sees that, takes offense to that, gets back from being like 400 pounds, gets down to fight weight, and then just goes out and that big trilogy and Deontay Wilder going crazy and never having respect for Tyson Fury, no love. Like that's just wild and crazy. And like all of these things, like you just can't write in like a movie or a storybook. Like this stuff's just all crazy. And that's what the fight game is. That's what you get from the fight game.
You know, funny, I was reading that statement that came out a couple days later, from Wilder. And as I read it, the beginning sounds like he could have written it. And the end part definitely didn't sound like his writing. You agree with that?
Yeah.
I don't think Deontay Wilder wrote any of that part about the Gypsy King and all that on the way out. I think he ended it. The last part is when he refers to himself as a king of boxing. I think that was the end. And I think everything that came after that came from his team. And I'm glad they did that, I'll be quite honest.
Yeah.
They did their best to help him save face.
Yeah, they learned what happens when you let Deontay Wilder just run loose after the second fight. So his team definitely had to rein him in somehow. But regardless of that, I mean, that's the fight game. Beef's going to come from it. And we got a great one coming up tonight. And we'll talk about that. But first, you want to squash your beef with mosquitoes? Check out Mosquito Shield.
It's been a pretty wet summer in Connecticut, and that means more mosquitoes than ever. If you didn't have your home service for mosquito control and find you're spending most of your time outside swatting those little pests, you are in luck. Mosquito Shield of Central Connecticut provides the best value in mosquito control services because of how they treat your yard using the Mosquito Shield tailored treatment system. They don't use a fixed schedule or an identical product, one-size-fits-all service program because you can't control mosquitoes on a set number of sprays or visits. Unlike the competition, Mosquito Shield of Central Connecticut will service you for the season, whatever it takes to provide superior results. This promise has awarded them an industry-leading consumer retention rating of 90%. Visit MosquitoShieldCT.com to schedule an appointment with Wade the Cesare and enjoy the rest of your summer mosquito-free. Strawweight champion Rose Namajunas will defend her title in a rematch with Weili Zhang in the co-main event of UFC 268 live from Madison Square Garden. Let's break it down. Weili Zhang is 32 years old. She's 5'4" with a 63-inch reach and a record of 21-2, 10 knockouts and 7 submissions. Born in Handan, China, she began training in martial arts at the age of 12, learning kung fu as well as Chinese boxing and wrestling. While working as a fitness instructor, she began learning Brazilian jiu-jitsu and decided to become a professional fighter. She made her pro debut in 2013, losing via decision to Meng Bo, then won her next 12 all by stoppage to claim her first title, winning the KFL Strawweight Championship via second-round knockout over Simone Dorate. After 4 defenses, she made her UFC debut in 2018 with a win over Danielle Taylor, then followed that up with a first-round submission over Jessica Aguilar. She beat Tecia Torres by decision, then blew out Jessica Andrade in 42 seconds, stunning her with a right cross and then bombarding her with knees and punches to get the stoppage and claim the women's strawweight title. After moving to Dubai and failing several times to obtain a visa, she was finally allowed to enter the U.S. to defend her title against Joanna Jędrzejczyk. In one of the greatest fights in UFC history, Zhang pulled out a split decision victory in a brutally epic war that saw both women combine for 351 significant strikes and spend the night in the hospital. The bout was declared the fight of the year, and both women were given a 2-month medical suspension. 13 months later, she made her second defense against former champion Rose Namajunas, losing her title via first-round knockout from a brutal head kick. A technically sound striker, Magnum possesses immense power, a high fight IQ, excellent wrestling, and the ability to walk down opponents and control the distance. Rose Namajunas is 29 years old. She's 5'5" with a 65-inch reach and a record of 10-4 with 2 knockouts and 5 submissions. From Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Thug Rose began training in martial arts at the age of 5, attaining her black belt at 9. She began training in Brazilian jiu-jitsu and kickboxing under Duke Rufus while still in high school. After graduation, she had a brief amateur career going 4-0 before turning pro at Invicta FC4, scoring a third-round submission over Emily Kagan, and followed that up with a wild flying armbar submission in her second fight. After dropping a decision to Tisha Torres, she joined the UFC for season 20 of The Ultimate Fighter. She scored 3 straight submissions over Alice Chambers, Joanne Calderwood, and Rhonda Marcos to make it to the finals. However, she lost via rear naked choke in the third round. In 2015, she defeated both Angela Hill and Paige Van Zandt via rear naked choke and followed those wins with a decision over Tisha Torres. After submitting Michelle Waterson, she took on strawweight champion Joanna Jędrzejczyk, and despite being a massive underdog, she knocked out Jędrzejczyk with a vicious 1-2 in the first round. Following her decision victory in the rematch, she was forced to take the rest of the year off due to a compression fracture of her vertebrae, which she sustained while training with Valentina Shevchenko. Upon her return, she dominated Jessica Andrade, but ultimately lost via knockout when she was slammed down in the second round. In July of 2020, she got her revenge, defeating Andrade by split decision. And on April 24, 2021, she took on the formidable Weili Zhang, knocking out the champion with a thunderous head kick in round 1 to become the first woman to reclaim her title in the UFC. One of the most well-rounded women in the sport, Rose is a highly proficient striker with excellent footwork and kicks, and after closing the distance, will usually go for submission. Can a refocused Weili Zhang use her immense strength and powerful punches to exact a revenge? Or will Thug Rose use her superior footwork and striking ability to cement her standing as one of the pound-for-pound best in the sport? Tune in to UFC 268, Zhang versus Namajunas, and let's find out.
All right, Joe. We talked a little bit about this before the show started. And you think we're going to have a second 2-time champ tonight?
I am coming across some new information, and I'm a little concerned right now. And you might have seen tough weight cut, had to weigh in naked behind a curtain. So now I'm a little bit concerned. Boy, I'm going to go against what I said to you before, Jace, and I am going to take Thug Rose. I think this one's going to be bloody, and I think it's going to go the distance.
All right. Jared, what you got? Actually, no, Joe, the power, dude, you were all on this. Like,
I don't know, man. Bad camp, bad weight cut. I don't know. Now I don't know. I don't know if I like that. I was all set to take Weili, Jared, and I don't know. I talked myself out of it.
Last time you talked yourself out of something, it was Shakur Stevenson and Herrig. Just gonna say.
Just so you know. So you got statisticians working yourself. I need to get a couple guys behind the scenes over here like Jay Scott.
All right, I'm going to take Weili then. I am going to take her.
I think
power's too much. I'm going to do it. I'm taking her.
How can anybody take you seriously now? Right now.
That's what I was going to do in the first place. I got a little jarred by
I'm taking
Rose.
Rose. I'm taking Rose. Yeah, that weigh-in is everything, Joe. You were right to second guess that. I'm taking Rose. What do you think now?
Yeah, I do want to take. Now, I'm going to take that. I'm going to do it. I'm going to stick with my original pick, although I will say, obviously, this is very concerning information. We all know how important, cutting weight is. Everybody but Paulo Costa knows how important making a weight cut is and having a good camp is and how important that is. So, yeah, I'm definitely concerned. But look, my thought, Jared, going in and Sander put in the comments, the booing bothered her. She's got a lot of excuses. I really do think this woman came in to Jacksonville, Florida, thinking as the champion, why wouldn't they cheer me? I don't think she has any comprehension that, China, boo, China. I think that, it's funny. When I was watching the fight, long before anybody brought that up, I thought she looks like upset by that. Like, I think it really caught her off guard. And you're on hostile ground against a tough fighter. She didn't have a great first round. I mean, she didn't have a great first round.
I agree with your take, though, Joe. I mean, I was serious. Rose by decision. And I think it's fight of the year candidate. Lot of landed punches. If you got a FanDuel lineup, take them both. Put your winner in the MVP circle because there's going to be a lot of landed strikes and it's going to go to the decision. That's my my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I still don't know where Joe lands, but I get what you're saying, Joe. Like, even
this
with
is like
the weight
pronouncing Beterbiev with him, trying to figure out who he thinks is going to win the fight. Is Beterbiev.
Better Bud.
Scully didn't even know. He was like, "No, it's better." Wait.
But no, this
who did I say I was taking? Now I don't remember. Did I say
I don't know.
I don't remember either.
I think you're sticking with your guns, unless you want to change your.
Why don't you go draw?
No,
majority draw.
I'm gonna say Rose by decision, like I said at the beginning.
Okay.
This is a tough fight, though. You have to admit.
It is.
I'm going to put my money on Rose. He sounds pretty confident.
No, but I mean, I'm with you. It's back and forth. It's really hard to pick. But the thing is Rose, as an underdog, I haven't looked. I looked earlier in the week. She was an underdog. I don't know if she still is. But, like, she just always gets it done. Against Joanna, coming in, getting the knockout. Coming back, everyone said the knockout was a fluke. She came in, she went 5 rounds, she outclassed. I think it's the same thing here. You got the knockout. Everyone's saying it's a fluke. Yeah, a lot of the excuses, the weight cut, the home crowd or whatever, those are all excuses. But no, Rose just comes in, she shows up. It's the same Rose you're always going to see, and she just gets it done. I think she outclassed her. She is one crazy slam away from being what, her 5th title defense, and her being on the same, us talking about her possibly going up to fight Shevchenko, or her being in that upper echelon of all the female fighters right now. Just one wild slam away from her being in that conversation, and because Rose is fantastic, and she's going to show it. And I honestly wouldn't be surprised if she. I think she takes it to the ground and submits Zhang in like the 3rd round. I'm gonna go there. I got Rose getting it done. Just that length is just going to be too much for Zhang. But yeah. So we all 3 of us agree. Kind of, Joe.
Doug Rose.
Doug Rose all day, baby.
We did all say Rose, right? Now, all right. Yeah, I'm good. Yeah. I'm good.
I was a little back and forth, but
Jared, the rest of these I've got really definitive answers. Trust me. I got very definitive choices from here on out.
Okay. All right. Speaking of the rest of them, now let's get into the main event.
Welterweight champion Kamaru Usman defends his title against Colby Covington in the main event of UFC 268 live from Madison Square Garden. Let's break it down. Colby Covington's 33 years old. He's 5'11" with a 72-inch reach and a record of 16-2 with 4 knockouts and 4 submissions. From Clovis, California, Covington moved to Oregon when he was 8 and took up wrestling in high school, lettering all 4 years to winning the state championship in his senior year. He went on to wrestle at Iowa State Community College, where he was a roommate of John Jones before transferring back to Oregon and becoming a 2-time Pac-10 conference champion at 174 pounds. After graduating with a degree in sociology, he made his pro debut in 2012 with a first-round TKO. He won his next 4 with 2 submissions before making his UFC debut with a first-round knockout over Wang Enying. In December of 2015, he suffered his first loss, a guillotine choke to Warley Alves. He bounced back 6 months later with a rear naked choke of Jonathan Munier, and then followed that up with a third-round knockout of Max Griffin. He followed that up with decisions over Brian Barberena and Dong Hyun Kim, and in the last fight of his contract, he defeated the always dangerous Damian Maia by unanimous decision. 7 months later, he defeated Rafael dos Anjos to win the interim welterweight championship, but was subsequently stripped of his title when a surgery prevented him from taking on Tyron Woodley in a unification match. He returned in August of 2019, overwhelming former champion Robbie Lawler, throwing 541 strikes and attempting 18 takedowns en route to a lopsided unanimous decision to earn another title shot. On December 14, 2019, he challenged welterweight champion Kamaru Usman, engaging in a savage back-and-forth war of attrition, with both men absorbing punishment and Covington fighting with a broken jaw before getting dropped twice in the final minute of the fight and having the referee call a halt to the action. In September of 2020, he took on former champion and training partner Tyron Woodley, dominating the first 4 rounds before the fight was stopped in the 5th, with Woodley complaining of a rib injury. A highly aggressive pressure fighter, Covington possesses an iron jaw with a solid stand-up game, world-class wrestling skills, and some of the best cardio in the sport, setting a breakneck pace and overwhelming his opponents with volume. Kamaru Usman is 34 years old. He's 6 foot tall with a 76-inch reach and a record of 19-1 with 9 knockouts. Born in Nigeria, he moved to Arlington, Texas at 8 years old and started wrestling in high school, finishing with a 53-3 record. He wrestled Division II at the University of Nebraska, finished with a record of 44-1, then became a resident of the U.S. Olympic Training Center, but didn't make the 2012 team due to injuries. He turned pro in 2015, went 5-1, and then joined the Ultimate Fighter, winning in the finale against Hader Hassan, getting a 6-figure contract and following that up with a win over Leon Edwards. He racked up decision victories over Sean Strickland, Damian Maia, Rafael dos Anjos, as well as a knockout over Sergio Moraes before winning the welterweight title with a one-sided domination of champion Tyron Woodley. In his first defense, he took on rival Colby Covington, and despite the fact that both men are known primarily for their wrestling, they engaged in a back-and-forth slugfest until Covington suffered a broken jaw and was stopped in the final minute of that fight. In July of 2020, he was supposed to fight longtime friend and training partner Gilbert Burns, at which point Usman left Sanford MMA, choosing to train in Colorado under Trevor Whitman. 9 days before the fight, Burns pulled out due to COVID-19, and Jorge Masvidal was brought in on 6 days' notice, losing via unanimous decision. In February of 2021, he surpassed Georges St. Pierre for longest winning streak at welterweight, when after getting dropped early, he gradually broke down Burns, dropping him with a jab and stopping him with a vicious ground and pound. On April 24th, 2021, he made his 4th title defense with a dominant victory over Jorge Masvidal, decisively ending their rivalry with an explosive one-punch knockout. One of the most dominant champions in this sport, Marty is an excellent striker with decent power who uses a solid jab to set up his power shots and uses leg and stomach kicks to wear down his opponents in controlled distance, and is one of the most accomplished wrestlers in the UFC, boasting a perfect 100% takedown defense. In this highly anticipated grudge match, can Chaos set an unmatchable pace and overwhelm Usman with volume as he seeks revenge for his only knockout loss? Or will the Nigerian Nightmare dominate with his ever-increasing striking ability to cement his legacy as one of the greatest welterweights in UFC history? Tune in to UFC 268, Usman versus Covington, Saturday night, and let's find out.
Ooh, I rewatched this fight this morning, and I mean, I always forget how actually close it was, because I don't know why in my head just Usman just being his dominance of everyone else, but that fight was a lot closer than I
Right,
remember.
until he polished them off in the fourth, and this is what I was talking about earlier. This is where, again, you've got a guy who's elite, and you've got, I mean, listen, Colby Covington probably takes out 2 through 50 any day of the week. He's not beating Kamaruddin Usman. It ain't going to happen. He doesn't have those. He just doesn't have it, and he's not going to beat him. I think this one probably goes the distance. It's probably 3-2. It's probably close. It's probably the best Colby Covington fight of his life, and he's going to come up a little bit short.
Oh yeah. You know what they call the Jamaican guy who pushes the button on Double Dare? Usman. Come on. You've been playing this game for too long not to get these.
Got to start nailing some of these here.
And that's a great depiction of what we've got going on here. Usman versus Covington. You were referring to the Sandhagen and Jan fight from last weekend, where one of the guys pinpoint and accurate and really good striker and volume and everything right, and another guy just ran into a buzzsaw, an elite buzzsaw. That's what's going to happen. I can't say this enough. When Bud Crawford fights Virgil Ortiz Jr., but that's not for today. That's not for today. Usman,
I can't wait to
decision.
argue that one out with you, by the way, when it happens.
Yeah, me either.
Because I'm already picking Crawford in the fight. Just
and
so
the numbers,
you know.
that's my fight of the night, and my puncher's chance, and my Ferry's gonna be about that too.
I will say, I do see I do see a way Colby Covington can win this. Because while you mentioned the Jan and Sandhagen fight, Jared, I think both these guys are very similar. Usman, I see a lot of similarities with Sandhagen with that length. And Colby Covington, I see a lot more like the TJ Dillashaw Sandhagen fight, where when he was able to get in, he was able to flurry off a couple, and he had the greater – he was better at those exchanges. But when Usman was able to keep it at distance – I mean, before the fight was ended, Colby Covington was leading the fight in strikes.
The problem is, what can he do better than he did last time?
Nothing.
I don't see much. I don't see very much. It's like Sandhagen. You don't give him a rematch because Jan will eat him again.
And I'll tell you what, I think Usman is fighting better than he was then.
Yes, definitely. Yes.
But if you see a marked improvement, it's likely to be from Usman, who gets the fight stopped in the second or third instead of the fourth.
Yeah, but I do if Colby Covington's jaw didn't break and he didn't get knocked out, that would have been a hard fight to score. That's all I'm saying. But I think this isn't going to be the same fight as last time. Usually when you got both these ground guys like this, they like to exchange strikes in the first round. Like when you got strikers, they like to sometimes test out wrestling the first time they meet. So I think this is going to go to the ground, and that's why I got Usman taking it. But if Colby can come out, get the pressure, and then just stay in Usman's face for like the first 2 rounds, just constantly coming forward, swinging like a Nate Diaz type, Cain Velasquez in his prime, just coming forward. I do think he can wear down and maybe make Usman crack early. But other than that, like I think he's going to wear himself down, and then Usman's just going to pick him apart. But I do see them utilizing the wrestling more, and that's why I have Usman in the edge there.
I do see
the avenue for Covington.
I think part of the reason this first fight was the stand-up that it was, and again, these are 2 great wrestlers.
Yeah.
Only one of them has 100% takedown rate in the UFC. And so, again, it very much negates probably Colby Covington's best asset. And so it forces him to fight a fight that he doesn't want to fight. And I just think, like you said, but like, no, listen. Like you said, Chase, if Covington has to try to get this to the ground, it means it's not going well, and it means he's probably in big trouble.
Usman worked his way up through the UFC and is the champion and the #1 ranked pound-for-pound fighter in the UFC, and his takedown defense percentage is 100.
That's sick.
That's wild.
Get out of here.
How is anybody going to beat this guy?
And you're telling me a guy who that's not his specialty is going to have to do that? It's just not. I don't see it, man.
Dude, I'll tell you what. I mean, again, everybody knows I love Masvidal a ton, and I remember in the rematch after the first round, I thought, all right, Georgie took it a little bit, but felt like he was coming on strong in the second round. And then, bam, there they were. Now, this is a guy who in 54 fights had never been knocked out.
He fought Kimbo
Yes!
Slice in a backyard.
Yes!
You remember what you thought was going to happen when you first met Jorge Masvidal on YouTube?
Yes. You know how many fights I've watched of Masvidal fighting in Kimbo's backyard, beating the hell out of people? I mean, that dude's a fighter. That dude is a born natural fighter. And this is what I loved, because he talked a lot of smack, which is why I love Jorge so much. But after the fight, he said, dude's got my number.
Yeah, I mean, you got to respect.
Straight up.
But Kobe, even if he loses, he's still going to.
I don't care. When Colby Covington loses,
heel stuff.
He can get right back, go back to number 8 and work your way back. He'll be back again.
Nah, he's going to hop over to the WWE because, I mean, let's get this.
If he did, I wouldn't care in the slightest. I'm not a Colby Covington fan, and I got to be honest.
I don't even think
his mom love nothing more than for Marty to knock his lights out.
Yeah, and I think
being honest.
I mean, you mentioned it before, Joe. I mean, there's a different Marty, a different Kamaru Usman, I feel. Like, he's just on this other level. That's why he's dispatching these guys earlier. I mean, beginning, he was slow starting, a little bit more methodical. Now he's just opening up. And that's why he's being more dominant. And while I do think there is an avenue for Covington to get a win, he won't. He won't get it. And I do think this will end earlier than just like the last couple Usman fights, just decisive, just put any talk at all in the water. And also, I saw an interview with him. Kamaru Usman's mentality is just different. I mean, he's talking about the past fight and how, like, his hand was broken. He didn't say anything to his corner. And Covington, when his jaw broke, he told his corner. So that was his way. He saw it as Covington's way to get an out, for them to go tell the doctors and get an out, because he didn't want to keep fighting.
Out of the fight, yeah.
So yeah, that's just that mental stuff. I mean, you talk about intangibles. That's just something that there's a reason why he's #1 pound for pound, and that's that stuff. That's the stuff you can't teach. That mentality. But all right, talked a lot about UFC. We got a great fight in the boxing ring, though, as Canelo takes on Caleb Plant. Joe's going to break it down for us.
The unified WBA, WBC, WBO super middleweight world champion Canelo Alvarez squares off with undefeated IBF super middleweight world champion Caleb Sweet Hands Plant on Saturday on Showtime pay-per-view from the MGM Grand Arena in Las Vegas. Let's break it down. Caleb Plant is 29 years old. He's 6'1" with a 74-inch reach and a record of 21-0 with 12 knockouts. From Ashland City, Tennessee, Plant began boxing at the age of 8 and by 19 became the National Golden Gloves champion and an alternate for the 2012 Summer Olympics. After amassing an amateur record of 97-20, he turned pro of May of 2014 with a first-round knockout of Travis Davidson. Over the next 3 years, he went 15-0 with 10 knockouts before making his first real step up in competition when he completely dominated Andrew Hernandez, winning all 10 rounds on the judges' scorecard, after which he found himself ranked 6th by the IBF. Next, he defeated the number 12-ranked Rogelio Medina, using a superior jab and ring IQ to win another lopsided decision, and 11 months later was given a shot at the title against IBF champion Jose Uzcategui. In another dominant display, Plant used his footwork and jab to completely overwhelm the champ, dropping him twice, once in the second round and once in the fourth, to claim the title by a wide unanimous decision. In his first title defense, he blew out challenger Mike Lee, dropping him just 37 seconds into the first round and 3 more times in the third to score a technical knockout, and 7 months later destroyed number 3 contender Vincent Fagenbutz, battering him throughout en route to a 10th round stoppage. On January 30th, 2021, he put on another masterclass against former IBF title holder Caleb Truax, controlling the former champion from a distance with his jab and ring generalship, with all 3 judges scoring at 120 to 108. A highly technical counterpuncher, Plant likes to fight out of a Philly shell, utilizing his quick jab and excellent footwork to control the distance and set up his power shots. Canelo Alvarez is 31 years old. He's 5'9", with a 70.5-inch reach and a record of 56-1-2 with 38 knockouts. From Guadalajara, Mexico, he followed his older brothers into boxing at the age of 13, going on to medal in several Mexican junior national championships and finishing his amateur career with a record of 44-2 with 12 knockouts. He turned pro at 15 with a 4th-round knockout and went 32-0-1 before gaining his first real exposure, knocking out Jose Cotto on the Mayweather vs. Mosley undercard. In his next fight, he won the WBC silver junior middleweight belt with a 6th-round knockout of Luciano Coelho, and followed that up with a brutal left hook knockout of former welterweight champion Carlos Baldemir. He won the vacant WBC regular belt from Matthew Hatton and defended it 5 times before adding the WBA belt with a unanimous decision over Austin Trout in 2013. In his next fight, he lost his belts via majority decision to Floyd Mayweather, but quickly bounced back, tearing through the junior middleweight division with knockouts of Alfredo Angulo and James Kirkland before defeating Miguel Cotto by decision for the WBC middleweight title. After knocking out Amir Khan with a thunderous right cross and following that up with one-sided beatdowns of Leon Smith and Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., he took on Gennady Golovkin in an attempt to unify the middleweight division. After 12 intense but evenly matched rounds, the fight was ruled a draw, and when the pair rematched the following year, it was much the same, with Alvarez pulling out a close majority decision. Unable to unify the middleweight division, he set his sights on super middleweight, knocking out Rocky Felding with a body shot, and after briefly moving up to light heavyweight to knock out Sergey Kovalev for the WBO belt, he dropped back down to super middleweight to win the WBA and WBC belts with a unanimous decision over Caleb Smith. On May 8th, 2021, he added the WBO belt with an 8th-round beatdown of champion Billy Joe Saunders, putting on a masterful performance and fracturing his orbital bone before Saunders' team threw in the towel. A defensive specialist with exceptional head movement and footwork, Alvarez also possesses phenomenal power and is among the finest counterpunchers in the sport, and is widely regarded as one of the pound-for-pound greatest fighters in the world. Can Sweet Hands use his jab and size advantage to keep Alvarez at bay, or will Canelo's power and ring IQ be too much to overcome as he vies to become the first undisputed super middleweight champion of boxing history? Tune in Saturday night to Plant versus Alvarez, and let's find out.
Joe, can Canelo knock off the second of the Caleb and Caleb's list?
First, you missed a golden opportunity or can the challenger supplant Alvarez? I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Tony, I know you're watching. Make a note of that next time Caleb Plant fights. I don't know about you guys, but the fact that the super middleweight division will finally be unified will give me the best night of sleep I've ever had. I said this last week about Shakur Stevenson. If you want to spend the prime of your career unifying a division that nobody gives a crap about, knock yourself out, literally, because no one's going to be there to watch any of it. I mean, get real. Who cares? Of course he's going to beat Caleb Plant. Why wouldn't he? Like, in what world do we live in where Canelo doesn't completely destroy this guy and unify the super middleweight division? Why? Where's Triple G?
Right.
Where's Triple G? What are we doing with this? Caleb Plant? Really? Caleb Smith too busy? Give me a break. What a joke. Dude, Canelo better blow him out in 6 or under, or he should retire. That's what I say.
I like that.
I don't even want to go. I just joke. Keep going. This is great.
Dude, I love Canelo Alvarez. I want to watch him fight people that I care about in a division that people care about. Nobody cares about super middleweight at all.
You know I'm a numbers guy, right? So I'm over here on Box Rec, and I've got some Canelo Alvarez opponents' numbers. For perspective, Alfonso Gomez, 33, Kermit Cintron, 17, Shane Mosley, 19, 23, 69, 90, 62, 764, 730. You guys can guess who that guy is. Triple G. Danny Jacobs, 220. Kovalev, 230. Callum Smith, 255. Billy Joe Saunders, 166. Caleb Plant. Here we go. We got 26, 21, 7, 4, 4. He never fought anyone the likes of Canelo or even close to about 15 of the guys that Canelo's faced. By the numbers, Canelo's faced, what was that, 12 to 15 guys that aren't any, that this guy's never been in the ring with, got knocked out by Canelo Alvarez.
Jeez.
That said, the line is too high. You can't bet minus 950. If you're betting the fight and to win, plus 650 on Caleb Plant, he's showing up to fight. What you want here is the under 9.5 at a coin toss. That's all day. This fight doesn't see round 10.
Yeah. I mean, Canelo takes care. I honestly, I mean, we've talked about the idea of Canelo moving up to fight Beterbiev before. And I mean, he's not doing that. I think he's just waiting for someone to come out of welterweight. I mean, whatever's going on there, and then just meet at middleweight, I think. Because, man, or he's just going to keep doing this, keep just dominating super middleweight,
Yes,
maybe fight a Charlo.
He learned this from Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah. So, but then, yeah, I don't know, man. I love that you said 9.5, Jared. Yeah, I think that's easy. That's easy. So, yeah, Canelo all day, every day. He's gonna get it done.
Real quick, you know, it's funny.
Sure.
My brother sent me earlier this week video, and I had forgotten how amazing this was when Floyd Mayweather lost at the Olympics and cried like a little bitch. It really, that day, it proved to me how obsessed this guy is with not losing fights. And it's been really, it's all that's mattered to Mayweather is to not lose. And in doing so, to not fight anybody, to dodge people until they're in their 40s. And then he wonders why people don't love and respect him. You know? These guys, this young generation, the Lopez's, Davis, you know, even a guy like Wilder, everybody looks at Mayweather and again, you watch the way Wilder's come completely undone from a draw and then a loss and then another loss. There's more to, you know, again, you can lose a fight and learn a lot from it. You can take valuable lessons out of this.
On the other hand, that's an experience that most people can't identify with. There's not too many things I can correlate with losing a fight when you go back and you just weren't good enough. When Jorge Masvidal said that, you know, that's an experience 99 out of 100 people are never, ever going to have to stop and say, I tell you guys about asparagus wraps. I don't know where it comes from, but Chad Dawson was just better than me. There was nothing I was going to do to get at a 6'3", left-handed, 158-pound kid. And that's just the idea of taking a loss. I mean,
this is a little bit different, but again, I've never been in a boxing ring, so I don't know. But I did recently win a wiffle ball championship. And the expectation was high because of how good I am that I would perform. And in the championship games, I was a combined 10 for 15 with 8 RBI, made a beautiful diving catch. And we won. So I don't know. I just wanted to talk about that for a minute.
All right. Okay.
We don't have footage. Highlight reels.
There's a reel.
Of course. Somewhere. Joe's got it. All right. Let's get back to fights and let's talk about the fight of the night. I think there's one pretty big, glaring one in the lightweight division. Joe, is that yours?
It is Gaethje Chandler. I expect violence. I want to see these two guys get as close as they did in that stupid commercial I've had to see like 800 times. You know what I'm talking about? Where they're like face to face for the whole commercial. I look forward to that actually now happening. Because I always, in my mind, when he leaves and he backs him up to the door, they would have just started duking it out right there on Chandler's back porch. It's gonna be a
awesome.
fun and a very exciting fight. I'm thrilled for it.
Yeah, I mean, well, it can be, but also no, it's just gonna be fun. I could see Chandler taking it down and making it but no. I mean, Gaethje's too good at takedown defense, and yeah, it's gonna be war. And I mean, especially the way Chandler's been fighting, he wants to come out and get that brawl. So yeah, it's gonna be fun. And
this is a great card, by the way. Frankie Edgar on it as well. I mean,
Frankie Edgar versus Marlon Vera. Yeah, that was my fight of the night. I think crossroads, too easy. Two guys going in different directions.
It's I think Shabazian's on this card too. I just did the ESPN pick'em. And as I was going through the card, I was like, this is great. This is a great card right here.
I'm Evolve. Shabazian's actually the dog.
Yeah. Yep. So, yeah, I mean, it should be interesting. It's a fun night. Jared, you got a fight tonight? I know you always love boxing.
Oh, well, it's Gaethje. Yeah. It's Gaethje Chandler all day, but forced to give you something else, boxing would have been Plant Canelo. So I'm going to give you one more to pay attention to here. I think it's got a lot of potential. It's two guys that have lost a few fights, won a few fights, been in the upper echelon for a long time. If they're going to make another run at it, the time is right now. Bobby Green versus Ali Aquinta has potential to be a very good fight.
Who would you take in that fight? Because I took Iaquinta.
Iaquinta, yes. He's the
I like Iaquinta as well.
He's on one of those round robins I made, actually. Ali Iaquinta. Yeah.
I like that.
Good pick.
Iaquinta pick. But all right, speaking of picks, Jared, got your puncher's chance. But first, we got to bet responsibly. And if you need help managing your money, check out JPEX Financial.
Do you have a 401k and some savings for future retirement, but you don't even know if it's enough to live off of? How much is enough? And how often do you think about it? The team at JPEX Financial Group can help set your mind at ease. We specialize in creating strategies, doing the planning and managing of your financial, educational, and investment needs. We help clients pursue their investment goals with sound financial strategies. You deserve a personal, tailored plan. Lasting, meaningful, and open relationships are the foundation of our practice. You've worked hard for your money and should feel confident with your investment choices as you make decisions for your financial future. Your goals are our goals. We are dedicated to your needs and hopes for your future. Visit our website or give us a call at 860-430-5397.
All right, Jared, there you got it.
Corey Gibbs is all day. We already talked about Canelo and Plant. Take the under 9.5. And a couple of upsets to sprinkle into your parlays. Juan Pablo Romero is the underdog fighting Elvis Rodriguez. Those are two names you don't usually hear attached to each other. But Elvis Rodriguez for the loss, and then Nathan Bennett. We're also taking with an upset pick here over Kane Gardner. And that's your puncher's chance. Go ahead and bundle those all together, round robin them. 3s and 4s. There's 5 bets there. $1 wins you $140.
Dude, I killed it last week with Glover. I'll tell you that.
Congratulations.
That killed
By the
me
way,
because I had won 8 fights in a row up to that point and parlayed a bunch of them and lost a handful with Glover.
do you guys mind if I just take 30 seconds of your time? I think everyone will enjoy this.
Floyd, it's a tough decision from my vantage point. Let me get your comment on the scoring.
I feel I'm winning the fight.
Yeah, when you look at Todorov, a 3-time world champion, do you feel like he got some consideration from the judging? I understand how emotional you are right now, Floyd, with your family.
I mean,
I'm the most empathetic person on the planet. To people that deserve it.
Close. Yeah.
To people
right.
who deserve it. I'm sorry. I can honestly look at that clip and it makes me laugh every time I watch it. By the way, mad props to my man Beasley Reese, former New York Giant, former NBC Connecticut news reporter, and a really cool guy. I had a chance to know him for a long time. Good guy.
yeah, but I mean, it's so crazy. People love to. I mean, when DC was crying after the John Jones knockout,
I love DC. My heart broke for DC,
and even with to a degree, Wilder. I mean, you're just in combat. I said to a degree. And then as soon as they put cameras in your face after just being knocked out or just going to war for however many rounds, I mean, things can come off a little weird, and you're in those emotions. So I get it to a degree, but yeah, I mean,
no, I'm a crier. I'm a crier. I actually think it's a symbol of strength, but you've got to differentiate a certain kind of crying. I mean, Rose Namajunas, I'm the best crying is different than Terrell Owens, that's my quarterback crying. Those are two different kinds of crying.
Yes,
one of them I might tear up with you. The other one I'm okay to laugh at you and not feel like I'm not being empathetic enough. Leave Brittany alone. There's two different kinds of crying.
yeah, I mean, well, I think now that we're talking about crying, it's time to wrap up the show. But before we do that, shout out to Throwing Jabs. I mean, Scrub Scraps. Jeez, I'm losing my mind. Scrubscraps.org. Make sure you check it out. You can come support them right here. And then membership, sign up, fill out the Google Docs, and there you go. And also testimonial video, everything you got all right here, scrubscraps.org. Make sure you check that out. And
we are very, very proud of that. And big props to Jace for all his hard work, to my daughter Eden and her boyfriend Zach LaPlante, Chris Moscone. A lot of people put a lot. If I'm leaving anybody out, I apologize. Erica Jones, certainly.
Trinity, too. Yeah.
Trinity, yeah. And of course, Jared. We put a lot of work and effort into getting this bad boy up and running. Membership is open, so get in on the ground floor, baby. Love to have you. And we're hoping to get things really rolling with the start of the new year. Maybe an event even.
Oh yeah. Let's go. Scrubscraps.org. Go check it out.
We'll talk.
Hey, and we'll be right here.
Hey, get on that membership list. We're giving priority to everybody who's on that membership list. There's already about 50. we've got a method to sponsor, and those will be the priority sponsors, sponsees. So getting on that list, a good idea if you want to be any capacity, like I said.
Hell yeah. That's scrubsapps.org. Make sure you check it out. And a big shout out to JPEX Financial Group and Mosquito Shield. Make sure you check out Mosquito Shield CT as well. Sign up for their services. Tell them Throwing Jabs sent you, and they'll give you a discount as well. And that's going to do it for Big Jace, Joe Aguirre, Jared Jones. A lot of fun fights tonight. Make sure you check them out. Make sure you enjoy them, and make sure if you do bet responsibly. But that's going to do it. We'll see you next week for more Throwing Jabs. Take care, everyone.
Throwing jabs, always full send. Here we go again. Jared, Joe, and Jay's Clovercrest, top three corner man, punching in with a puncher's chance. We find a way to win. The main event, locked it in every Saturday at 10. The overhand is out of hand when it comes to fisticuffs. Slide a hand on the undercard, you'll never see the punch. Uppercut, got you missing weight, feet are stepping late. Keep your guard up, feeling faint from a feint. Take a stand and eight, then retaliate. Put up your duke, stick and move, bob and weave. Don't lose hope against the ropes, there's always an escape. Never stay down. One more round, bells ringing, counter punch with your chin tucked and go down swinging. We bringing crosses with no worship, hooks with no verses, combinations with no locks. When you feel the flurry, it's curtains. From scrub scraps to fight stats, relax if you want the facts, cause the best combat podcast is Throwing Jabs.
Hello, my name is Joe Aguirre. I'm the president of Clovercrest Media Group. And here at CMG, we have a wide variety of podcasts, including sports shows like Keys to the City, The Roll Call, Throwing Jabs, All Four Downs, and Jawing About the G-Men. And great true crime shows like Sticky Meat, Crimes and Consequences, Ivy League Murders, and Bird, the unsolved murder of David Eichmann. You can find all these podcasts and so much more by visiting clovercrestmedia.com.